Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, we've talked about different ways to invest, different vehicles to invest with, different things. It's just a whole bunch of different stuff. But we talked about traditional IRAs and Roth IRAs, but what about, you've heard people talk about they invest in both. At the same time, I think how can you do that? I thought you could max one or the other, pick one. Well, when it comes to saving for retirement, the Roth IRA and the traditional IRA, I mean, they're the most popular ways to go about it, but both individual retirement account options are different in their own right. The decision of which one to utilize, I mean, it's not binary, right? With enough planning on how to leverage both types of plans, you can maximize your return on investment and enjoy a more lucrative retirement. So, do you need a Roth and a traditional IRA? Well, it may sound counterintuitive to split whatever money you plan on saving for retirement into two separate types of IRAs, but there's financial strategy behind it. Now, there are some financial planners, that believe that putting money in both types of retirement accounts, even if you're already enrolled in like an employer sponsored, simplified employee pension or a savings incentive match plan for employees, right? I mean, it can help you manage your taxes. A quote would be the benefit to having pre tax and Roth retirement dollars is that you can have greater control around tax planning during retirement. You will have one account that comes out tax free and another that is taxable, allowing you to decide which is better, which account is better to fund retirement from, based on your tax environment that you're in, your situation. So, Roth IRA contributions are made after taxes, meaning that you won't be taxed on the account's principal when you take your money out later in life. Now, contributions to traditional IRAs are made pre tax, so any money that you withdraw later in life will be subject to taxes. Now, that being said, taxpayers are often able to claim a deduction on the contributions that they make to their traditional IRAs, so they can soften the blow that they'll receive in retirement. You know, Outside of having to manage two retirement accounts, there's not too many downfalls to having a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA. Okay, well, how do we go about using these two different, IRAs? Well, having both retirement plans can be beneficial. There are things that you have to remember when making your contributions. By following federal regulations, you can ensure that your retirement accounts will work as efficiently for you as you need them to. So, one of the things you need to do is keep an eye on your contribution limits. Now, the IRS has specific limits on how much you can contribute to all of your traditional and Roth IRAs. You know, you can have more than one of each. Under certain guidelines for 2022, your contributions cannot exceed $6,000. The only exception is if your age is 50 or older. Now, this is going to allow you to contribute another $1,000 among your accounts as a catch up mechanism. Another thing to pay attention for is adjusting your contributions based on income. For a lot of Americans, some years are better than others when it comes to salary. Depending on which tax bracket you end up in during a given year, you may want to put more money into either your Roth IRA or your traditional IRA. On one hand, if you anticipate retiring at a lower tax bracket than you're currently in, you may want to contribute more to the traditional IRA to pay lower taxes. On the other hand, if you expect to be in a higher tax bracket than your current year, you may want to put more money in your Roth IRA, since you won't pay taxes on those withdrawals at all. Another thing, which I'm sure you hear over and over and over, is to start contributing early. Make the best of your retirement planning. You should start the process as early as possible. The more time that your money spends in a retirement account, the more that it can compound and grow and grow. And then later in life, if you feel that your money will be better served in a Roth IRA than a traditional IRA, you can always roll over the money. So, how about taxes? I mean, can having both types of IRA affect current taxes? Well, maintaining both kinds of IRA, a traditional as well as a Roth, not only affects your taxes during retirement, but also can land you tax savings today. Contributions to a traditional IRA can reduce your taxable income, allowing you to become eligible for a number of tax credits. For example, the qualified retirement savings contribution credit, provides up to 50% of your total contributions to an IRA or workplace retirement plan in tax credits. As long as your adjusted gross income doesn't exceed 34,000 as a single filer and 68,000 if married filing jointly, you can receive at least a portion of the credit for 2022. Now, are withdrawals and distributions taxable? Well, both IRA styles deal with your taxes in a specific way. Deductible contributions and earnings withdrawn or distributed through a traditional IRA are taxable. In a Roth IRA, contributions are immediately taxable, though withdrawals are not as long as it's a qualified distribution. Now, your Roth contribution, they can be withdrawn at any time, right? Tax and penalty free. In both instances, you might be forced to pay an additional 10% tax for early withdrawals if you take money out before you're 59 and a half years old, right? So you really want to wait until you're about 60. Now, can you over contribute to an IRA? Yes, you can. If you make excess contributions, you'll have to pay an additional 6% in taxes for each year that the extra amount exists in your account. Now, the tax will end when you either withdraw the excess or use it as future contribution. So you really want to make sure that since a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA have different limits as how much you can put in, right? You want to make sure that you're not maxing both out, right? You want to make sure that you're putting in only however much you can put in, and then moving forward that way and using each one to your advantage. Now, what's the lesson here? Basically, managing your traditional IRA as well as a Roth IRA can be a great way to take advantage of both worlds. And since you can ultimately roll your traditional IRA into Roth, there's little downside to at least trying to maximize both. Keep in mind the tax advantages and implications of both IRA types. And remember that there are income limits for, contributing to a Roth IRA. So hopefully this guy's, kind of like cleared up a couple things for you, because I had a couple people asking me, you're like, oh, I heard you can only do one, and I heard you can do both, like which one's true. So hopefully this kind of cleared there a little bit, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you did. But until I see you in the next one, y'all be safe.